Hey, Dr. Offit. Seems like your feathers got a little ruffled yesterday before the Confronting Vaccine Resistance Conference. Someone asked you if you wanted to be interviewed regarding your beliefs about vaccination, and, well, let's just say your response isn't going to win you any Nobel Prizes. I wouldn't let this whole thing get to you, though. We've all had those days when you're trying to polish off some croissants and orange juice when that guy whose son was paralyzed from a vaccine shows up and asks you a question. Annoying! I know just how you feel. I would be ticked off too. I'd probably tell them to get the f*** out of my face too. I mean, seriously, your confronting vaccine resistance talk didn't start for another hour or two. And to have to sit there and confront vaccine resistance before your talk on confronting vaccine resistance started, that was super crappy timing. How could he possibly have an intelligent conversation with you, right? I mean, he's not a PhD. He's never made millions of dollars from a vaccine like you. What could he possibly know about vaccines, especially the one that paralyzed his kid? Now, I realize these kids are just collateral damage in a much bigger war, and that some parents are always going to have to make sacrifices. But I don't think they get that yet. Do you? Given that confronting vaccine resistance seems to be a weak spot in your pharmaceutically funded lifestyle, I thought I'd just give you some tips, some pointers on how to better deal with this growing crowd of affluent, educated parents, nurses, doctors, and scientists. Let's keep it casual, okay? Pretend we're just chilling on the squash court beside your Italian villa. First off, you seem really, really concerned about your safety. You mentioned a security guard at the event escorting you to a cafeteria where you'd be safe. Let me just run the numbers by you, Paul. Vaccine protests are safe. They're incredibly safe. You are more likely to be killed by a taxi on the way to a vaccine protest than you are getting knocked in the head by some rogue anti-vaxxer gone mad. If you were to avoid speaking at every vaccination lecture or seminar you had ever been invited to because you're scared of some 1 in a million chance an anti-vaxxer is going to throttle your neck, think of where this world would be. We'd be in the Stone Ages, when no one realized how necessary vaccines were, how amazing Gardasil was, before everyone realized that human life was incapable of surviving more than a few months without pharmaceutical intervention. You don't seriously want to go back to that era, do you? If everyone who was a little afraid of some vaccine protesters stopped talking or lecturing, then we'd be back at that level in no time. Mothers would be walking around skipping their wellness visits. Doctors would be twiddling their thumbs hoping for a call from a sick kid. We can't have that now, can we? So stop worrying about something that is never going to happen, because we can't move back to those caveman times when everyone thought the human body was capable of healing itself. Secondly, because there's been a growing number of physicians and health officials who seem to be stressed or reluctant to speak publicly about their vaccine views, we've been able to pass some legislation that will force you to attend these events. No getting there 4 hours early to avoid the crowds either. You've got to walk past all of them every time, listen to what they have to say, and the most exciting part, you will debate them on camera, live, in front of as many thousands of people who care to watch. I realize that there are some extenuating circumstances that you feel might preclude you from walking past these crazies, but don't worry, we've got you covered. We've got a special committee of anti-vaxxers that'll listen to your grievances and make a determination as to whether you can skip a given event or not. I realize that some of you may feel like you have been threatened or harassed in the past, but don't worry. Those weren't anti-vaxxers that did that. They were other people that had nothing to do with us. They might have sounded like us. They may have even been opening their mouths at the same time you heard the sound of someone else talking. But seriously, it was just a coincidence, okay? Anti-vaxxers are completely safe and effective. Everything is going to be fine. And finally, Dr. Pablo, the majority of anti-vaxxers will tell you they just want to sit down and have a debate with you, hear you out. An open dialogue, discussion, conversation. How can you be so scared when it's clear The consensus is that no one wants to hurt you. They just want what's best for the children. They may not go so far as wanting you to let them love your children, because that sounds a little creepy, but they do want what's best for the kids. I realize they do make tens of dollars on t-shirt and sticker sales, and greed does play a part in their bias, but seriously, how could hundreds of thousands of anti-vaxxers be wrong? Why are you so afraid of consensus? I don't understand. I'm glad you've taken a few minutes to listen, Mr. Offit. I realize that disinformation and fear can be a powerful thing, but thankfully, cooler heads can prevail when objective data is injected into the mix and rational human beings are allowed to speak their minds. So much nicer that way, right? Okay, I think we're good now, don't you? One last closing message from all of us here at the Anti-Vaxxer headquarters to you and all of your devotees. Good luck with your vaccines. All of them. We hope you don't skip a single one. And that is our incredible opinion.